When a man is secretly into you, one of the first places it shows is in his attention, and not the obvious kind. It's not the dramatic gestures or the romantic declarations we see in movies. It's something far quieter, far more revealing. It's the subtle shift from casual awareness to hyper-focused presence. He begins noticing details he never used to pay attention to, and he does it without consciously meaning to. That's because attraction, when it's genuine, pulls a man's focus before it ever pulls his words. What makes this shift so powerful is that it's involuntary. He isn't planning to notice your expressions, or the way your energy changes throughout the day, or the small stories you tell that most people forget in an hour. He just does. His mind starts scanning for cues. How is she feeling? Did she enjoy the conversation? Did she seem bothered by something? Because he has more emotionally at stake than he's willing to admit. Attraction sharpens awareness. It makes a person pay attention where they normally drift. What's interesting about men in this position is that they often don't even realize how much attention they're giving you. If you asked him directly, he might shrug it off, laugh, or pretend he hasn't noticed anything. But watch his behavior. Notice how he remembers things with surprising accuracy. Notice how he picks up on your mood changes in a way most people don't. Notice how his eyes follow you in a room, not in a possessive way, but in an instinctive, anchored way, as if your presence has become a point of orientation for him. Psychologists call this selective attention, the mind prioritizing something it finds emotionally significant. But in relationships, it shows up more like micro moments, small pauses, little glances, shifts in body language, subtle curiosity. A man who is secretly into you will be more attuned to your reactions than to anyone else's. He will pick up on discomfort, excitement, hesitation, enthusiasm, because your internal world quietly matters to him, even if he hasn't built the courage to say why. And let's be honest, men who are hiding their feelings don't usually hide them well. They hide their words, not their instincts. His attention becomes the part of him that slips through the cracks. He may be trying to appear nonchalant, but his focus betrays him. It reveals that he's paying more emotional energy to you than to any other woman around him. But the deeper message here isn't just about identifying his signs. It's about understanding your own intuition. So often, women feel this heightened attention and second, guess themselves. They say, maybe I'm imagining it. Or maybe he's like this with everyone. Pay attention to patterns, not moments. One moment may be coincidence. A pattern is intention without confession. The real question is not whether he's paying attention, but whether you're paying attention to what his attention signals. Attraction is rarely a loud beginning. Often it starts quietly, through focus, awareness, and the subtle ways someone shows that your presence affects them. And if you learn to trust these signs, you stop chasing mixed signals and start recognizing genuine ones. Because when a man's attention sharpens around you, it's not an accident. It's a truth trying to reveal itself. Asterisk, asterisk, and sometimes the strongest signs aren't spoken. They're noticed. Asterisk, asterisk, when a man is secretly into you, but trying hard to hide it. One of the clearest indicators is the way he adjusts his behavior around you without ever acknowledging that he's doing it. Most people think attraction is shown through bold actions, grand gestures, obvious flirting, confident pursuit. But the truth is, when a man is fighting his feelings, the signs look completely different. They're quieter, more inconsistent, almost accidental, and that inconsistency is what makes them so revealing. You'll notice that his behavior changes depending on how vulnerable he feels in the moment. On some days, he's warm, engaged, and deeply present with you. He jokes more, he opens up more, he lets his guard down without realizing it. His tone softens, his curiosity increases, and he allows the real him to show, because in that moment the emotional risk feels low enough for him to breathe. But then suddenly, without warning, he pulls back. He becomes guarded, distant, overly neutral. It's not that his feelings disappeared, it's that he realized he revealed too much. This back and forth behavior is not immaturity, it's emotional conflict. He wants to move toward you, but he's also afraid of what that movement might mean. Fear of rejection, fear of misreading things, fear of wanting you more than you want him, fear of losing control. These fears don't erase the attraction, they amplify it. And in that internal push-pull, his behavior becomes the message he's too afraid to say directly. What makes this so important to recognize is that men who hide their feelings often overcorrect. They try to seem unaffected, composed, uninterested. They pretend they're just being friendly or casual, but underneath the surface, their entire emotional system is working overtime. You'll sense the tension in the way he tries to act normal, but can't quite manage it. Maybe he becomes unusually focused on his phone when you walk in. Maybe he talks to you differently than he talks to everyone else, either softer or strangely detached. Maybe he acts like something small didn't affect him, even though you can feel that it did. And here's the deeper psychological layer behind this. Emotional suppression creates behavioral leakage. When someone tries too hard to hide a feeling, it doesn't disappear, it escapes through the cracks. It shows up in inconsistencies, micro-behaviors, changes in tone, awkward pauses, mixed signals. He might avoid eye contact one moment and then stare a second too long the next. He might initiate conversation with you and then suddenly act like he shouldn't have. His behavior flickers between closeness and distance because his emotions flicker between courage and caution. When you understand this, you stop misreading his withdrawal as disinterest. You start seeing it for what it really is, someone battling with how much he feels and how little he knows how to handle it. Someone whose attraction is stronger than his confidence. Someone who is trying to protect himself while still being drawn toward you. But here's the part that matters most. You don't chase the inconsistency. You observe it. You stay grounded. You allow his feelings the space to clarify themselves. Because the man who truly cares will eventually stop hiding and start choosing. ***, mixed behavior isn't a lack of feeling. It's a sign he feels more than he's ready to admit. ***, one of the most telling signs that a man is secretly into you, yet refuses to admit it, is the way he pays attention to details he has no logical reason to remember. And I want you to really sit with that idea for a moment, because attention is not random, it's selective. The human mind filters out almost everything it encounters, except the things it emotionally invests in. So when a man notices something small about you, something you didn't even realize you had revealed, it's not accidental. It's emotional leakage. It's his attraction slipping through the cracks of his self-control. You'll see this in the way he remembers the tiny fragments of conversations others would forget within minutes. Something you said in passing, a preference you casually shared, a story you didn't even think mattered. He may bring it up weeks later, casually, as if it's no big deal. But the truth is, it stuck with him because **you** stuck with him. People don't remember data, they remember feelings. And if he remembers you in such vivid, specific ways, it's because you triggered something emotional in him. And it goes deeper than remembering details. It shows up in the way he anticipates your reactions. He adjusts his tone because he knows what kind of humor makes you laugh. He shifts his energy because he's picked up on what puts you at ease. He makes mental notes without consciously meaning to. This is the psychology of covert attraction. His mind is studying you without his permission. He's observing, learning, adapting, all while pretending he's not doing any of it. This attentive behavior is especially significant because it reveals something men rarely admit. Attraction makes them hyper-aware, not loud, not bold, not obvious. Asterisk hyper-aware asterisk. It sharpens their senses. It makes them more attuned, more responsive, more observant. A man who sees you as just a friend may enjoy your company, but he won't be tracking the details of your world with this level of precision. That level of attention is reserved for someone who matters, but here's where the subtle complexity lies. He won't highlight that he remembers these things. In fact, he may try to downplay it. He might pretend he forgot, or act surprised when he recalls something, or switch the subject quickly after bringing it up. He's not trying to hide the memory, he's trying to hide the meaning behind the memory. Because to acknowledge it would be to reveal just how closely he's been paying attention, and this is where many people misunderstand men. Men often fear that showing how much they notice will make them seem exposed, vulnerable, transparent, so they keep the details quietly stored, waiting for moments where they can use them without revealing how deeply they've been affected. When you notice this kind of attention, don't brush it off. Recognize it for what it truly is, emotional investment disguised as casual awareness. It's one of the strongest signs of hidden attraction because it bypasses performance. He can control his words, he can control his actions, but he can't control what his mind chooses to hold onto. Asterisk asterisk, when a man remembers what the world forgets, it's because you've become a place his attention naturally returns to, even when he tries to hide it. Asterisk asterisk, one of the most fascinating signs that a man is secretly into you, yet refuses to admit it, is the subtle, involuntary shift in his energy whenever you enter his space. This isn't something he plans or rehearses. It's not a strategy or a tactic. It's a psychological reflex, almost biological in nature. And if you observe closely, you'll see it long before he ever finds the courage to verbalize what he feels. A man who's secretly attracted to you becomes acutely aware of his presence around you. He adjusts himself, not dramatically but noticeably. His posture changes. His voice softens or deepens depending on what he wants to project. His energy becomes more grounded or more animated. It's as if your presence activates a different version of him, one he doesn't fully understand but can't stop himself from slipping into. Attraction has a way of making people align themselves, physically and emotionally, with the person who draws them in. What makes this sign particularly important is that it reveals a deeper truth about hidden emotions. Attraction transforms behavior long before it transforms language. You may see him become more generous with his attention, more controlled with his reactions, more intentional with how he positions himself in the same room. He'll angle his body toward you during conversations, even if he's talking to someone else. He'll sense your movements, even when he's pretending not to watch, and he'll adjust his energy to match yours because he wants to sync with you without making that desire obvious. There's also an underlying tension in the way he interacts with you. Not negative tension, but a quiet intensity. He becomes more careful, more thoughtful, as if he suddenly becomes aware of how much his actions might reveal. This subconscious self-monitoring is a clear indicator that he's trying to manage what he feels, not eliminate it. And the more he tries to suppress it, the more it leaks through in the way he behaves around you. But the most telling part of this energy shift is how it contrasts with his usual behavior. Around others, he may be relaxed or playful or distant. With you, there's a different quality, more presence, more alertness, more emotional gravity. This contrast is important because men rarely give this level of energetic focus to someone they see as just another person. When he shifts, it's because you matter. You've disrupted his internal equilibrium, and now he's reorganizing himself every time you're nearby. This energetic transformation doesn't require words because energy speaks before the mouth does. It communicates interest, attraction, respect, fascination, all without announcing any of it, and often he doesn't even realize how noticeable the shift is. He's just trying to manage the emotional stir you've created within him. So when you observe a man who consistently shifts his energy the moment you arrive, don't underestimate what you're witnessing. It isn't random, it isn't accidental. It's the emotional truth he won't say, but can't hide. Asterisk asterisk, when a man's energy changes around you, it's because his feelings have already changed, long before he's brave enough to admit it. Asterisk asterisk, when a man is secretly into you, but refusing to admit it, one of the clearest signs shows up in the way he remembers things you never expected him to. Not the obvious facts, your favorite color, where you work, or the name of your dog. Anyone can remember that. What reveals his hidden attraction is his attention to the details most people overlook, the small preferences you mention in passing, the moments you didn't realize had any weight, the comments you made that even you forgot. He remembers because those moments mattered to him, they stuck to him, and the mind doesn't hold on to what the heart has no interest in. When a man tries to hide how he feels, he compensates by pretending he doesn't care. But the subconscious has its own agenda. You'll see it when he brings up something you said weeks ago, or when he refers back to a tiny moment, something that seemed insignificant at the time, but somehow it stayed with him. These aren't rehearsed moves, they're mental slip-ups, proof that you occupy emotional and cognitive space he didn't plan for you to take up. This kind of memory isn't logical, it's emotional. The brain naturally stores what it attaches value to. So when he recalls your stories, your reactions, your opinions, it's because those things matter to him. They register as meaningful, and meaning always leaves a mark. Even men who struggle to express their emotions outwardly can't hide where their attention gravitates. There's another layer to this. A man who secretly likes you is hyper, aware of anything that could help him understand you better. He's studying you not in a calculated way, but in a fascinated one. He wants to decode what makes you happy, what frustrates you, what energizes you. That curiosity is fueled by attraction. It's the nature of desire to want to understand what it wants more deeply. He watches how you talk to others, how you carry yourself, how your mood shifts. His interest isn't just surface level, it's investigative, perceptive, and deeply human. And yet, because he's hiding his feelings, he'll never acknowledge this awareness openly. He'll act like it's nothing. He'll pretend he just remembered. But people don't just remember things they're indifferent about. Indifference is forgetful by nature. Attraction is attentive by nature. You can always see the truth by what the mind refuses to let go of. This attentive memory is also a form of emotional investment. It shows he's building a private connection with you long before he's willing to build a public one. He may not be ready to step forward, but his mind is already walking in your direction. And when someone consistently remembers you in ways others don't, it's because you've impacted him in a way others haven't. So if you notice that he remembers the details no one else hears, or the moments no one else noticed, that's not coincidence. It's attraction speaking through memory. It's emotion revealing itself through attention. It's the truth showing up where he hoped it wouldn't be noticed. Asterisk asterisk, when a man remembers what others forget, it's because you've already become unforgettable to him, no matter how hard he tries to hide it. Asterisk asterisk, there's a subtle but powerful sign that a man is secretly into you and trying to conceal it. He becomes noticeably protective of you in ways he doesn't fully understand himself, and I want you to hear this clearly. This isn't the dramatic, movie-style protection where he leaps in front of danger. It's the quieter, psychological version. The kind that appears in his tone, in his choices, and in the way he positions himself around you without even realizing he's doing it. Attraction doesn't always show up as confidence. Very often, it shows up as vigilance. When a man has feelings he's not ready to admit, he becomes attuned to anything that could potentially hurt you, emotionally, socially, even subtly. He notices when someone speaks to you disrespectfully. He pays attention to when you seem uncomfortable. He subtly adjusts his behavior to make things easier for you without ever labeling those actions as care. He'll word things more gently, he'll listen more intently, he'll step in at moments when silence would have been easier. It's instinct, not strategy, and that instinct comes from something deeply rooted in the psychology of attachment. When we care for someone, our nervous system shifts. We become sensitive to their well-being. We track their emotional signals, even unconsciously. Men who are trying to hide attraction often don't realize they're giving themselves away every time they lean forward when you speak, or glance toward you to check your reaction, or adjust their tone when addressing you compared to everyone else. Their protectiveness isn't always bold. Sometimes it's simply the act of wanting you to feel safe in their presence, even if nobody else notices that they're doing it. There's also a philosophical layer to this. A man who secretly likes you won't just protect you from external things. He'll try to protect your perception of him. He doesn't want you to see his insecurities, his flaws, the parts of himself he believes might reduce your interest. So he becomes careful, he watches his words, he pays attention to how he comes across, and ironically, that desire to manage how you experience him is itself a form of protection, emotional self-preservation disguised as restraint. But here's where it gets interesting. This protectiveness doesn't come with possession. He won't claim you. He won't declare anything. In fact, he may step back publicly while leaning in privately. That's the paradox of hidden attraction. His silence may mask his heart, but his behavior reveals his investment. You feel it in the way he tries to create ease for you. You sense it in the way he softens around you. You notice it in the way he becomes more alert to your emotions than to anyone else's. Hidden protectiveness is subtle, but it's sincere. It's the kind of behavior that isn't performed, it leaks out. It's not about impressing you. It's about caring for you in ways he can't quite explain. And when a man who claims to feel nothing is still showing up in protective ways, it's because he feels everything but hasn't found the courage or the clarity to bring those feelings to the surface. Asterisk asterisk, when a man protects you quietly, he's telling you loudly where his heart already stands. The question that remains is whether you're listening to what his actions have been whispering all along. Asterisk asterisk.